Hey, Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and on today's episode, I'm breaking down the Raiders' free agents on the defensive side of the football. There's 17 players to go over, so get yourself a cold drink, sit down, sit tight. Make sure you get that drink from Tavor. First player I'm going over is Johnathan Hankins, and this dude's going to be an unrestricted free agent at age 27, and sure, he came over from the Colts, and he's been a solid run clogger, and he might not light up the stat sheet, but I think his biggest role going forward for the Raiders, who I do hope they resign, is to grow Mo Hurst, because let's be real, Eddie Vanderhoes cannot quite trust him. When I look to see what he did in 2018, Hankins had a pretty good year, 36 tackles, 4 tackles for a loss, 2 quarterback hits, and sure, he didn't have any sacks, but again, he's a solid, reliable player that I think the Raiders can at least use as depth going forward. My next player I want to talk about is Clinton McDonald, and he's going to be an unrestricted free agent at age 32, and sure, he does add experience, and he adds depth to the middle of the defensive line, which I think we all can agree the Raiders are very young on defense, so adding depth and age is good. Here's the thing. He started only 1 game last year for the Raiders, and I just see the Raiders progressing and going a little bit younger. So Clinton McDonald is personally a player that I don't really want the Raiders to re-sign. I asked everybody, all my loyal watchers on YouTube, what's the best Raiders channel on YouTube? And everyone said Raiders Report, which I appreciate. NorCal Finest said, love your show, keep it up, bro. At first, I thought this was a peace sign, but it's not. It's all good though, NorCal Finest. Keep it up, man. I've been trying to keep it up for 25 years. Lisa Legs, this one's coming in from you. When you're clean shaven, Lisa, is this okay? I don't know. I'll be honest though, Lisa. Chin down, silky smooth. Next one's coming in. Best Raiders channel on YouTube. Ernie knows the answer. 4 Chucky heads. Believe it, baby. Absolutely love that answer, Ernie. You the man. Make sure you guys subscribe below to youtube.com/Raiders Report. If you want to get on the show, subscribe below, youtube.com/Raiders Report. I just want to say thanks to everybody who subscribed. Over 9,000 subscribers. Once I get to 10K, maybe I'm going to paint my face. Maybe I'm going to wear a Raiders jersey. May even dye my hair blonde. You guys want to interact with me on Twitter and Instagram, Mitchell Renz 365. All right, let's get back into what's actually important. Frosty Rucker, next player on my list, and love Frosties. If you guys want to comment chocolate or vanilla, you let me know. But he's going to be an unrestricted free agent at age 35, and here's the interesting stat about Frosty. Even though the dude's a little bit older, he had the most tackles, 37, since 2012, and maybe Frosty's I don't know, getting better like wine. Do Frosties get better over time? I'm not quite sure. Do you eat them with french fries? Let me know. But he started 15 games for the Raiders last season, and again, I think Frosty was productive to a certain degree, but again, at the end of the day, I want the Raiders to get younger and build younger. Maybe he can be more of a leader in the locker room, but in terms of on-the-field play, Frosty, I'm still not quite sure whether or not they're going to bring this dude back. But, I mean, 37 tackles, 4 QB hits, 0 sacks. Still a predominantly okay player, I think, when you ultimately look at his production. And, again, it's building around young players. And if he can maybe teach some of these younger players that the Raiders are going to be building in, like Mo Hurst, who I absolutely love, teach him a thing or two, that's something I ultimately believe that the Raiders would look for. And 37 tackles, let's not totally sleep on 37 tackles because, again, it's okay. But I got a question for everybody that's watching the show. Who's the Raiders' biggest free agent priority from the defensive line? All right, is it Hankins? Is it McDonald? Is it both of them? Heck, you want to throw in Frosty Rucker? I want to know from you, but everybody who's watching on YouTube, Facebook, biggest free agent priority on the defensive line. All right, let's get into my next player here is Rubin, and he's going to be an unrestricted free agent at age 32, and here's the thing. The dude didn't play a single game in 2018, and I'm going to make this one quick. I think the Raiders just need to let him go. He just, at the end of the day, don't really think he's that solid of a player. Yes, he's a free agent, but let's let him go. Let's maybe try to get some other players. Another player is going to be an unrestricted free agent at age 27. It's Kony Ealy, and here's the thing. He played 3 games with the Raiders in 2018, and I get that he's a second-round pick, and he was picked by the Panthers in 2014, but I've seen enough of Kony Ealy to realize that it's just not going to work out. And some players, sure, just because you get drafted high and you have a high draft pedigree, maybe you get a few chances. I've seen Kony for a long time, and the only time I'm going to ever get Kony is probably when I go to Coney Island, New York for a hot dog. All right, this next one's coming in. So Smith, and again, another player. There's going to be a bunch of these. I'm going to try to run through some of these as quick as I can. Played only 3 games with the Raiders in 2018, but here's the thing. The dude hasn't started a game since 2015. I think it's time to move on from Smith. Next player I want to talk about is Shaquille Calhoun, who I think at times is okay, right? He's 26 years old. He's young. Third-round pick in the 2016 NFL Draft, and he's played 20 games for the Raiders. I've seen him on the field, but I think when I look at to see what I want the Raiders to do going forward, I'd be surprised if he's a starter ever, but maybe he can be a little bit of depth. All right, my next player, a little bit more important here, is Jayson Cabinda, and he has by far the greatest picture in the NFL. I mean, this face is incredible to me. It blows my mind, and he's going to be an exclusive rights free agent at age 22. So an exclusive rights free agent basically means since he was an undrafted free agent last year, the Raiders are basically going to offer him something, and he can either take it or he can leave it. And if he leaves it, I would be very surprised. So I think Cabinda is going to come back with the Raiders, and I liked him a lot out of linebacker U at Penn State. Now, he's ninth in career tackles at Penn State with 286, and again, he's not a freakish athlete, but he's a solid tackler, and I think at this point in what the Raiders are trying to do, we need as many guys that can wrap it up as possible, and right now, he is actually currently the starting middle linebacker on the depth chart. So everyone who's watching, I asked you guys in our community poll on youtube.com/Raiders Report, what don't you like about me? And I was kind of curious for some of these answers, and I loved them all, so I did read them all, but here are some of my favorite ones, and this one's coming in from Goddins, I don't know, 84, is that right, Dom? Interesting picture there, pretty colorful. You don't give free gear to us, laugh out loud. Well, that's not true. I give you guys always an opportunity to get a free NFL jersey if you sign with BetDSI, but Goddins, 84, and everybody who's watching the show right now, hit me up on Twitter at Mitchell Renz 365. I'm going to hook you guys up with something. All right, next one's coming in from Dave Rabin. Cheers, bro. Cheers to you. Different headset. Can't you get an earpiece? Here's the thing. I could get an earpiece, but how would you hear me? Without the earpiece, see? Okay. With the mic, you guys can actually hear me. It's a little bit more clear. So that's why I wear the headset. Lozano4224. To be honest, I just want to drink a beer and talk shit with you. You seem like my type of people. Lozano, I'll be honest. I thought that said drink a beer and take a shit with you. So that would be one hell of an experience. I'm just saying. But Lozano, anybody who's watching, if I'm ever going to a new city, I always tweet it out. And if you ever see me, first round is 100% on me. Thanks for subscribing to youtube.com/Raiders Report. Make sure you guys go to BetDSI. They are our loyal sponsor here. And if you like the Raiders Report, well, guess what? You want more Raiders Report? Get on with BetDSI. Go to chatsports.com/bet. Sign up and deposit with MasterCard or Bitcoin, and then DM Chat Sports on Twitter for a free NFL jersey. I do give things away for free. You want a free NFL jersey? Get on with BetDSI, and I got a little extra. Use Bitcoin, get a 150% deposit bonus. This past weekend, I hooked up 3 people on BetDSI with Bitcoin. You want to get hooked up? You want to get on BetDSI? Slide in my DMs at Mitchell Renz 365. All right, let's head back on it now to why you guys are actually watching this video. Free agents, defense, and I'm talking about Rashon Melvin, quarterback, and he came on over from the Indianapolis Colts, and he's going to be an unrestricted free agent at age 29, and he did play well down the stretch of the season. I think we can all agree on that. Here's the thing, though. The Raiders are looking to grow their younger cornerbacks like a Nick Nelson. So, with that being said, I think he's a priority to bring back. However, I think he's a very low priority for the Raiders, and when I look to see what he did in 2018, 56 tackles, 9 pass breakups, 1 interception. He struggled in the beginning. Now, you could argue that was maybe just trying to grow with the defense. He did play better down the end of the season. My next player bringing up here is Leon Hall, and he's going to be 34 years old, right? And I wake up some mornings and my bones creak and crack, and I'm only 25 years old. So I can't imagine what an NFL player sounds like at age 34. And here's the thing. He started 4 games for the Raiders, but he started early, and he did help, I think, groom Nick Nelson, and hopefully Nick Nelson can emerge next season. But at the end of the day, I think it's time to move on from Leon Hall because, I mean, let's be honest, he looked pretty old by the end of the year. Dexter Mcdonald, we got another McDonald here, and an unrestricted free agent at age 27. He started 6 games in 2017, but didn't play a single snap in 2018. Likely will not return with the Raiders, at least that's what I would say. I would actually be pretty surprised if the Raiders brought this guy back. Next player I want to talk about is Bene Big Wickery, and he started 8 games with the Cardinals in 2018, then he came on over to the Raiders, and he's going to be an unrestricted free agent at age 27. But here's another player who I think actually when he was with the Cardinals was okay, but it just didn't quite mesh with the Raiders, and I think because he didn't mesh, he's not going to come back in 2019. One player that the Raiders absolutely need to re-sign is Daryl Worley, and when I originally did some Raiders free agents that they needed to resign. You guys can go check that one out over at the Raiders 2019 free agency playlist that I have on YouTube. And he's going to be 23. He's a young player, and sure, before the season he was dealing with some off-the-field stuff, but they're building around young talent, and Daryl Worley is young talent. And I think at the end of the day, sure, he's never going to be a lockdown corner like I hope Gareon Conley can be, but he's still a productive slot corner, which is really, really important in today's NFL. 33 tackles last year, 7 pass breakups, 1 interception. Again, young player, still growing. Interested to see what's in store for Worley in 2019. One player who I'm not really interested in seeing is Tevin Mitchell. And, well, he's coming up a little short there. There's L for love. Love the last name, but at the same time, I don't like it because that's not how you spell Mitchell. Exclusive rights free agent at age 26. Now, the Raiders could offer him something, and it could be a take it or leave it kind of thing. But here's the thing. He has yet to play a single down in the NFL. I don't know, Raiders. I don't see why you would possibly offer this guy a contract again. I think we've seen that he's just a practice squad guy. And at the end of the day, let's move on from Tevin Mitchell. So I talked about a whole bunch of Raiders cornerbacks. Who's the Raiders' best free agent quarterback, okay? Is it M for Melvin, H for Hall, W for Worley? I think you guys know where my answer is. I'm going to throw out my W for Worley, but I want to know everybody who's watching. Who's the Raiders' best free agent cornerback? Melvin, Hall, Worley? If you got somebody else, let me know. If you guys think that I look good today, it's because of Mizzen and Maine. Go to comfortable.af to see for yourself. Guys, I'm telling you, chicks dig these shirts. They are the most comfortable dress shirt you'll ever buy. You can't get them wrinkly. They're made in America. Sweat wicking technology. Perfect for bars. Perfect for wearing them to work. You can literally sleep in these bad boys. Go to see for yourself. Comfortable.af. One more thing. If anybody buys a Mizzen and Maine shirt, tweet at me. I'll retweet it. All right, let's head on in now to Marcus Gilchrist because he's a free agent. And these next 3 players, I think, are some of the bigger free agents that the Raiders have. And he's 30 years old, and he started all 16 games for the Raiders last season, and he led the team with interceptions with 3. And I think Gilchrist at times showed that, like, he was really inspired to play, and then other times, well, not so inspired. 58 tackles, 6 pass breakups, and 3 interceptions. Yes, he's a free agent. Here's the thing, though. I actually don't really think that he's going to come back and be in silver and black. Another player that I think that the Raiders really need to move on, and it pains me to say, is Reggie Nelson. And here's the thing. Like, I like Reggie Nelson, and I get that he's a captain on the defensive side of the football, but he's 35 years old, and he started 7 games for the Raiders last year, and they were all earlier in the season. Man, the dude had a career-low 29 tackles, and again, Reggie Nelson, I think from a mental standpoint, it's still there. I think he's one of the smartest football players in the NFL. But the body is starting to break down, and he's starting to slow up. And also, there's other players like an Erik Harris who's starting to step up. So personally, Reggie Nelson, I think it's time for you to go. One player that I absolutely want the Raiders to re-sign is Erik Harris because I love the story of Harris. A restricted free agent at age 29, and all it's going to take to bring him back is a tender. You know why else I like Erik Harris? Because the dude retweets me on Twitter. Eric, how about you hit me with that follow? Be an actual supporter. Raider Nation, tweet at Erik Harris. Tell him to follow Mitchell Renz in the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube.com/Raiders Report. But here's the thing. All seriousness, he played a lot better down the stretch of the season, and he knows this defense. He knows the team, and I think he really wants to be a Raider. 49 tackles, 7 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, and 0 forced fumbles. I like Erik Harris a lot, but I talked about 3 players that I think a lot of people like on the Oakland Raiders, so I want to know from everyone watching. Who's the Raiders' best free agent safety? Would you type G for Gilchrist, N for Nelson, or H for Harris? If you don't know what I think, hit me up on IG or Twitter at MitchellRenz365. If you're just joining the show, let's wrap back around all the Raiders free agents because guess what? There is a lot of them. And if you were drinking during the show, tweet at me what you were sipping on. Johnathan Hankins, defensive tackle. Clinton McDonald, defensive tackle. Frostee Rucker, vanilla or chocolate, maybe the more important question. I tell you, Rubin, he's on there. And then Kony Ealy, defensive end. Smith at defensive end. Shaquille Calhoun, defensive end. Jayson Cabinda, best picture in the NFL at linebacker. Rashon Melvin, cornerback. Is he going to come back? Let me know. Leon Hall, I think it's time for you to go. Dexter Mcdonald, Bene Big Wickery, cornerback, also a free agent. Darryl Worley, he's my #1 guy out of all the defensive players on this list. In terms of all Raiders free agents, he's right behind Jared Cook. Tevin Mitchell, spell your name right. Marcus Gilchrist, Reggie Nelson, and last but certainly not least, my dude, Erik Harris. Can I get that follow back? So those were all 17 players on the Raiders free agent defensive list. So which defensive player do the Raiders need to re-sign? Out of all 17 of those players, who's the highest priority? I want you to comment below if you're watching this on YouTube, and if you're watching this on Facebook, let me know. I'll be back tomorrow with some more Raiders rumors, so until then, go Raiders. Raider Nation, what's going on? Is this the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube? For Chucky heads, believe it, baby. And if you haven't already, subscribe right here. I'm giving you Chucky heads, news, rumors, Raider Nation rumors. And look at this, I'm making your life easier. Check out my next video. Thanks for watching, and go Raiders.